Yo, if you see me like pause during this video, it's because I got these new these Meta glasses. So when I get notifications, it's talking to me. But as an aside, one of the great things about it is I can ask it the price of Bitcoin, and it gives me the price of Bitcoin whenever I ask. What's good, everybody? Welcome to Stack Sats or Die Trying, brought to you by the Black Wealth Rebels as well as by the Hood. I'm your host as always. My name is Jimmy. This is episode 55, the Dikembe Mutombo episode of Stack Sats or Die Trying. Shout to Dikembe and whatnot. You know what I mean? But listen, man, I haven't been here in a minute. Missed like the last 2 weeks. You know, I try to bring the podcast weekly. Had a lot of stuff going on in my personal life. Life is life, and man, you know, I had a death in the family. So, you know, been dealing with that. But I'm trying to, you know, get back on the swing of things and make sure I continuously bring this content. You know, it's only I can, right? There's a lot of shows on the internet that talk about Bitcoin, but not with my perspective, right? So, you know, when you guys witness this show, you're witnessing greatness. You know what I'm saying? So when you witness greatness, you know, sometimes greatness takes a minute to cook up.
Greatness. Greatness happens?
Greatness.
Really?
You got a chance to witness greatness at its highest order. Skip, what word do I want to use? Was this the crescendo? Was this the zenith? The apex? The denouement?
But I'm back with that being said. You know, and salute to everybody that's checked in on me, sent me messages. I get all the comments. I'm going to go through and reply to all the YouTube comments. I've been slacking on that as well. Everybody in the village, shout out to everybody in the village. You are getting access to this episode early, as you always do. And for those who don't know what the village is, you know, go to blackwealthrebels.com. You know what I mean? Sign up for our village. That's where we kick it at. You know what I mean? You ain't got a lot to kick it. But today I want to talk about the Bitcoin mentality. And I kind of talked about this in a lot of other episodes, you know, or touched on a little bit. Pause.
Pause.
But I want to talk a little bit more about that because what I've been getting over the last several weeks in terms of like messages and things online, as Bitcoin has been dragging somewhere in the 80 range, which is funny because as I'm recording this, Bitcoin is pumping out. We're over 93,000. But it's just crazy to see some of the thoughts that people have been having while Bitcoin was just dragging around in the $80,000 range. It's crazy because even saying that sounds weird to me, Bitcoin $80,000 range. If you would have told me 2 years ago that 2025 would be at $80,000, I'd have been like FOH, but now we're here. So it's hard for me to be mad at Bitcoin being $80,000. But I see people with the nonsense that I always see. See, this is why you don't buy Bitcoin. This is why you got to chase the alts because that's the only way you can make, you know, all that nonsense, man. And I'm going to tell you, like I've always said on the show, I am Bitcoin only, right? I can never talk about those other things and tell you to do that. I'm not telling you to do anything. I'm not even telling you to buy Bitcoin, by the way. But this show is about Bitcoin education and giving a perspective, a unique perspective on Bitcoin. You know, as someone who comes from the real estate space, who's someone who does a lot of community work, how I see Bitcoin playing overall within the financial picture. Listen, I believe in certain things. I have certain morals, so I can never tell you to chase shit coins. So you'll never hear that from me.
I'm a man of morals and principles, and my morals and principles won't allow me to even engage in that type of activity. For what?
But as it was dragging, I was hearing that, and it occurred to me that people still don't get it. We are still early. We're still early, believe it or not. Even getting, you know, being in the $90,000 range, seeing what's going on with the White House, most people still do not understand Bitcoin. They don't, right? And I see a lot of even people who are gold bugs who are clapping at me right now because gold cracked 3,500. And, you know, I was in that space myself, which helped me to understand Bitcoin. But the thing is, people still don't get it. So we're still early. So this is a beautiful thing. This is why the idea is to continuously stack sats. It's not called buy Bitcoin or die trying to stack sats because it's that mentality and that lifestyle. Here's how I'll encompass it very shortly. Most people buy Bitcoin, and because they look at it wrong, they look at Bitcoin as being an investment. So they're measuring it and they're juxtaposing it with other things such as stocks or tech stocks and things like that. And some will say that it kind of moves that way. It hasn't fully decoupled from the market as of yet. And there's a little validity to that, to be completely transparent and honest. But I think that also goes to show that most people don't even know how to value it yet. They just don't. I mean, the value is based on pure supply and demand like everything else, but people don't understand what the instrument is. It's a savings technology. It's not a stock. There is no board of directors. There is no shareholders. And the reason I say the Bitcoin mentality is unique is because when you go down a rabbit hole, when you study, when you do the knowledge,
nigga.
you start to realize that you don't care about dollars. And here's what I mean by that. The people I talk to, they want Bitcoin because of what it's going to give them in dollar value. So they're still buying Bitcoin, but for them, it's really about what it's going to go up to in dollar value. I'm trying to get rid of dollars because I want more Bitcoin. Let me slow that down. You want Bitcoin for more dollars, right? I want to get rid of dollars for more Bitcoin. I want less dollars, more Bitcoin. You want Bitcoin only for the point of having dollars. I don't want a half dollars, right?
Fuck, I need to put it in subtitle or something.
So when I look at all of my assets, I want to have as little cash as possible, and I want to be more asset heavy, whether that's me owning iBit, whether that's me owning, whatever REIT that I have, you know what I'm saying? Or my main part of my portfolio, which is Bitcoin, or a piece of real estate, right? This doesn't just encompass Bitcoin, but it's unique to Bitcoin for me because most people are looking at Bitcoin only for its fiat value. And what you tend to forget is one Bitcoin is still one Bitcoin. I'm gonna repeat that. One Bitcoin is one Bitcoin. So over the long haul, as the space matures, as it develops further, as more people start to understand what the asset really is, you're gonna wish that you had more Bitcoin, right? You're gonna wish that you had more Bitcoin because the fact of the matter is, a weak dollar is gonna make Bitcoin worth more. It just is what it is. So when you fully understand that it's part real estate, it's part property, it's part everything, you want to acquire as much as possible. Not for what it's worth in dollars and cents, but because you want to actually stack sats. I know that's really for some people, I should say, not for everybody, because some people who are on this journey from watching the show, and I already know this because you guys reach out to me and tell me how the show has changed you and it changed your approach. And I appreciate all those comments. Matter of fact, keep those comments coming because that encourages me more to make content and to do other things. By the way, I'm cooking up some actual more PowerPoint classes to bring back the Stack Sats or Die Trying. 2025, we've been heavy on the PowerPoint. Less of my pontificating, but I'm pontificating now. This specific episode is not going to be long because, I was just trying to, I'm trying to get back off the bench. I've been, mourning and doing what I have to do, but I want to make sure I still push this content out because the message is still the message. Stack Sats or Die Trying. Buy assets, right? Buy assets, buy assets, buy assets, right? Stack Sats or Die Trying because one day you're going to wish that you were listening to me when I said buy Bitcoin. Anything I say on here is for educational, informational purposes only. I can tell you about my journey though and how the journey has changed me. And if you watch this series, right, this is episode 55 of the Kimbe Mutombo episode. That means there's 54 previous episodes if this is your first episode. And go back and watch that and you'll see not just specific things about in terms of Bitcoin education, but just my thought process and how I see Bitcoin and how it fits within someone's financial life and just in general, because going down a rabbit hole and studying Bitcoin changes you in so many ways outside of finances. And the great thing about it is, I haven't done the episode in a couple weeks, but I've been stacking sats every day. I'm still mining. My miners are running and, I'm getting sats every day. I still got a lotto miner going. My DCA, my daily DCA is going. My weekly DCA is going. My monthly DCA is going. So my DCAs are still moving, still stacking sats. You know what I mean? I'm mining fiat to put into my machine to continuously stack sats. So nothing changes. And that's the beauty of being a Bitcoiner. Once you get to that place, everything else becomes simple. The thing about a great investor, and shout out to my brother Don Johnson, because I saw Don put up a post that said this, and I agree with it. One of the things about being a great investor is literally sitting around and doing nothing. You buy something that you know has value and you sit around and do nothing. That's how you become a great investor, right? It's difficult for a lot of people because a lot of people want to be active. They want to feel like they're doing something. But the key is, do you really want to feel like you're doing something for the sake of doing it, or are you actually trying to achieve something? The great thing about becoming a stacker, and not only a stacker of sats, but a stacker of assets, is you focus on the mission of stacking. throughout going through that mission, it changes you and it slows you down so you can figure out what actually adds value to your life. Like for me, the idea of Bitcoin kind of, is very collinear with minimalism, right? It's very collinear with stoicism. It's collinear with a lot of things because in that journey, you start to realize I can't control anybody but myself. Most of the things that I waste energy and time on are irrelevant, and I should focus on the things that are relevant, that give me time and energy, right? That's the great part of this journey. I have been in the finance / real estate space for over 25 years, close to 30 years at this point. I have multiple degrees in finance. I've never seen an asset that changes lives the way that Bitcoin changes lives. And I'm going to tell you why, because I know people that have been very successful in the stock market. I know multimillionaires in the real estate space. But what I don't know is anyone in those spaces that has had their life changed the way that Bitcoin has changed lives, which is why a lot of people say, man, this is a cult or this is like a religion. But it's almost an experience you go through when you go down the rabbit hole, which is why you should be reading. You should be studying. Don't just take my word for it, because it makes you question everything. It's really a matrix moment. So I say all that to say, your mentality is everything. Figure out the importance of Bitcoin and why going down the rabbit hole, why stacking sats is important. Once you get to that point and you have that paradigm shift, everything falls into place. Going down a Bitcoin rabbit hole has made me a better stock market investor. Repeat that again. Going down the Bitcoin rabbit hole has made me a better stock market investor because I no longer chase individual stocks and I'm no longer chasing gains. I'm hyper focusing on what I think makes sense, and I'm building in that space. So it's made me, believe it or not, become less diversified, more concentrated, but smarter about what it is I'm holding. Because I told you guys my story in the beginning when I first bought Bitcoin and it shot up. I had sold all of it. I had multiple full coins. I had multiple full coins I sold. And as I sold them and I continuously studied, it made me kind of reevaluate everything I knew. And I'm someone who's had a securities license, right? I'm someone that has had an insurance license. I've had a real estate license for 20 plus years. I have multiple licenses in real estate, one for valuation, one for sales. Actually, I used to have two for valuation, but I digress. I'm not going to sit here and go over my resume. The point is, I've went down those spaces and I've done the studying. And in doing that studying, I was still kind of all over the place in terms of having so many assets, because you're taught in school and you're taught in finance class about diversification. But when I start doing the knowledge, do the knowledge.
Do the knowledge, nigga.
You realize that it's about having a better understanding of what it is you hold, right? Having that great understanding of what it is you hold and continuously studying that thing and becoming great in those spaces, right? So it's not necessarily about diversifying. It's about having a full understanding of what you hold and just being an expert in that. Specialists make all the money in the world. Generalists don't make all the money. It's the specialists that are able to attract value. It's value in scarcity and it's value in being a specialist. I say all that to say my specialty is real estate and real estate valuation. And even in real estate, right? I told you guys, I specialize in single family residential homes. That's my niche, right? So being a specialist is very important in your portfolio. As you look at your portfolio, I would say more people should become a specialist and stop being all over the place. That's the Bitcoin mentality. And the Bitcoin mentality is about getting less dollars and more Bitcoin, and not getting Bitcoin for the sake of having more dollars. That's a huge difference. I want you to think about that. Anyway, man, leave me some feedback. Tell me how you feel about my ramblings today. You know what I mean? I'm going to change the name of the show from Stack Sats or Die Trying to Jimmy's Bitcoin Ramblings. You know what I mean? But listen, though, again, I appreciate all you guys. Check us out on Wednesdays on Wealthy Wednesdays. Check us out on Fridays, Freedom Fridays. Sunday morning, we have our finance church, our Sunday class. And leave me some feedback, man. Let me know what you think about these ramblings today. Are you someone that's still super diversified where you're holding a gazillion things? Have you become more concentrated over the years? What is your approach? Not just with cryptocurrency or Bitcoin, but everything. How diversified are you? in terms of your mentality, do you have that mentality of stacking assets to get less dollars, or are you only stacking assets to get more dollars, right? Believe me, there is a difference. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Give me some feedback. We will be in the community. Got a lot of community events coming up. So join the village at blackwealthrebels.com. It's completely free to join the village. Again, completely free to join the village. So make sure you join. Love you. Appreciate you. And as always, stack sats or die trying. Peace.